Hi, this is Mike from the Electric Luddites in Sheffield. I bought myself a new drum kit, but I'm not going to play it. Wait till you see what I'm going to do with it. Something completely different. I'm going to be turning this cheap drum kit into this amazing garden feature. If you're interested in gardening and want to find out how I did it, carry on listening to the video. If not, you may as well turn off now. Right, got the drum kit. The next part of the project is you're going to take all the fittings off and all the heads off, so we're just left with the shells. Okay, for all the drums, I've just got these to show you. The tools you need for this are very simple. So there's a drum key. For you, those of you who are not drummers, every drummer has one of these. It's used to tighten up or to loosen. It's just a little screw, a little thing with a square in it. If you haven't got one of these, they're about 99p on eBay. Or if you've got a little attachment, sort of screw type attachment, spanner attachment for your drill, you can do that and do the same thing. So you should be able to do that to get off. So you unscrew this, and the other thing you're going to need is a little screwdriver to take off with the nuts from the outside. Before you start this, what I suggest you also do is mark around somewhere where the head goes down to the shell. I've used for this exercise a bit of masking tape. You could use a pen as well and draw under that both sides. Similarly with this, again, with this particular model, you've got these bars here you can unscrew, otherwise you use the same tools. And again, I've marked here where the head comes into the shell. The reason for that is that once we've taken everything off, we're going to recover it, but you don't want to cover up where the head comes over the shell. Reason is that we're going to be covering it with this. It's artificial grass, and we're going to cover all this with artificial grass. It's quite thick, so you need to have a bit of a gap when you put the top things back on. Okay, my kitchen table wasn't big enough to do this, so I've had to put it on the floor. And the first thing I've had to do is to mark it out. So we know what the dimensions are really. We need a strip, here, long enough to cover the drum. I marked it out here. What I found was 32 by 160. When you turn this over, you'll see it's like a carpet really. It's been stitched, and obviously it's done by machine, so they've got straight lines. So the thing is, you can actually mark between the big stitches. So once you mark it, it's going to be relatively easy to cut, because you're actually cutting through you're not cutting through the grass stuff itself, you're just cutting through the rubber behind it. Now what I found was, I tried to use a magic marker, but I couldn't, but I wouldn't see, so I needed chalk. I didn't have any chalk, but I thought, oh well, I've got an upset stomach tablet here, an anti-acid tablet, which is made of chalk basically, so I've used that to mark out the line there. So fingers crossed, we'll cut it out. The good thing is, of course, as you can see, though the drum looks big, when you actually do it, and this is a 10-foot stretch of the thing by a metre wide, you can get a heck of a lot out of this, you know. Anyway, we'll try now, see how hard it is to cut this with a bit of scissors. You can use scissors, or you can use a Stanley knife. I'm using scissors because I don't want to cut my floor. Let's have a look. So it's hard work, but got a good quality scissors, I must say. If you use this, use a really good quality scissors. Bang the scissors up, but otherwise you could be breaking the scissors with this. And I've just got this chalk line, so I just keep, which is in between the stitches. So I'm just cutting between the stitches. And I've done this bass drum first because obviously it's the biggest project, and if you can show you how to do this one, the rest of them is going to be fairly easier because there's smaller bits of stuff involved. It's not taking too long, is it? The other thing was starting off with this one. Obviously this is the biggest bit, so if I find when I put it down it's not quite right, I need it a bit bigger, I can reuse this for some of the smaller drums. So there's a bit of method in my madness here. Right, come to the end of the 160. Right. Now 32 this way. This is harder because you are cutting through the whole thing. But there we are. That's what I did. Gonna get the hoover, action over there. And this is going to go around something like this. The last bit of the video ended with me on the floor showing you how I covered or wrapping this slightly around there. The thing is, the battery went in the camera at that time, so I had to put it away to get it recharged. In the meantime, I have carried on with the project, but I'm going to sort of carry on from where I finished, and I said I was going to do the bass drum. as an example, so that once you see how to do the bass drum, then the rest will fall in line. Be very useful though, because I've carried on doing some of the other drums, and I have found some things that's very important that took a lot of time actually in the end to resolve. First of all, each of the drums have got these legs on, okay? These are the things that hold the head and your tension up. Now they're held on with some screws that go through the back, from the inside of the drum to the outside, and then they screw on there. The leg has got a slight thing that sticks up above there, if you can see it. I don't know if it's out, in or out of focus, apologies if not, but they actually do sit in to an extent. Okay, I'm just touching it there, but they do sit in there into the head. This screw then sits through. The problem is that the screw itself only just comes to the edge of the drum because it latches on inside the wood to that. And what that means is, with the extra thickness, this screw isn't long enough. This screw isn't long enough to go through. So what I've had to do is to go out and buy some extra screws and some washers to replace these ones that the Chinese have put on. To be honest with you, I had to go to my local DIY store, which was quite expensive because they only had small quantities of it, and it's cost me as much for these screws and washers as it did for the whole kit, which is a bit ludicrous really. But still, if you know, it's a one-off project. I wanted to get it finished. I didn't want to spend hours hunting the internet to get to buy 100 of these for $1 or whatever it is. So this has cost a bit. So that's the first thing, is that I had to go out and do this. If you try to follow this project, you won't know until you take the kit apart exactly what these problems are, because different manufacturers might use different fittings. The other thing is, with these screws, somehow or other they managed to design them so that you can't actually get the washer off. Other manufacturers I've sort of recovered stuff of, the washers just fall off and you can reuse them. That's why I've had to go out and buy extra washers. So again, you need to do it and have a gap and run off to your local B&Q if necessary to do that. So that's the first thing, that's come off. So I found by doing it that on another drum that by doing that it will fit on there fine. It's a little bit loose, but it doesn't matter. It's not, for the purpose we use it, it doesn't matter. What does matter, if it's a bit loose, is this thing here, which is the fitting that holds the two tom-toms on. The tom-toms are going to be weighted, they're going to have stuff in them, so they're going to have quite a lot of weight, so it's important that this fits on sort of securely. So when I put the grass on, what I'm going to have to do, or what I'm planning to do at the moment, might not turn out like that at the end, is to actually cut through the grass and fit this directly back onto through the plastic, so I don't need to change any of these to give it a safe fitting. The material I'm going to use to attach the grass, or the artificial grass, is double-sided tape for carpets. Okay, and I'm going to sort of put this in various places and then put the trim around it. Put the grass on it. The other thing I mentioned a bit earlier on in the video is that I was going to leave a gap. Well, in the end I decided not to do that because the reason for having the gap was I didn't think I'd be able to cut this neatly in place, but actually, as we've seen with the demonstration of cutting on the floor, I should quite easily, once I've sort of got most of it in place, to get that scissors and sort of cut it up, trim there. So I've actually done it a little bit more, and the first bit of carpet that I cut, or first bit of lawn that I cut, I've actually used on another tom-tom, on the large tom-tom. So I'm not going to bore you by showing me sticking bits of of tape on. I'm going to stop the video now, put the tape on and come back when I try to put this back together, okay? Okay, I hope you can see what I've done. I've used this double-sided tape, cut it into strips. I've put some along the outside and some up and down, so that way and that way. The reason I've left a gap is because it is very sticky and it's likely I'm going to have to pull a bit up and reposition it, so I've left some gaps there in order to give me flexibility to do that. It's going to be tricky putting this on. The other thing I've done, remember I mentioned the area for the tom-tom? Well, I've specifically put some tape around there. I can follow the dust that was left on and the slight impression of it when it was screwed on, so that I know that when I start cutting through, it's the bit that I want is going to be not stuck on, and the bit around it is giving that extra security. So that's what I'm planning to do. I'm then going to sort of drill from the inside to sort of make sure that I'm in the right place and put the thing back on that way. Anyway, so I've done that, so you can see what I've done. The other drums you treat in the same way, okay? It doesn't matter if it's not completely stuck all the way around. The legs you're going to put on and the heads will sort of hold it there. So that's this bit. I'm going to switch it off while I pull all the bits off, and then you can have a laugh at me trying to put the artificial turf all the way over this one. I managed to do it on a smaller one, but this is it could be a fun, this one. Well, in the end, what I decided to do was to start by doing a little bit with the tape off, seeing how that goes, then at least unrolling the tape. Again, I thought it would be too sticky, I'd probably end up sticking myself to it. So I've undone these here, so we'll try to do that now. I've done these two there and that one there. So if I roll this up, I know, we'll do it this way. At some stage it's got to join up, so this one, actually I should have put two on there, but I'll, oh, where is it? Oh well, I'll start there, and what I'll do is I'll add another bit of tape in for the join. I've been no good on Blue Peat, haven't I? This is one I cocked up earlier. Alright, see what we got. So that'll help the join when I get round there. So, oops. It is quite difficult to keep the thing steady each side. Okay, so those two in there. So I'm going to take the next bit off now. I have to stop biting my nails. Pull that as tight as I can. Over there. Still, you got about a ½ inch gap. Let's go to the next bit. The next bit is one that goes from side to side, in fact. So that bit goes on there. Next two bits. I'm trying to keep it steady both sides. Doesn't have to be perfect because when the hoop's on it's going to cover a lot of this anyway. Right, so oh well, that's almost around. So I've got now the last big stretch here, plus the overlap. So let's see how we get on with that. So pull that off. Pull this. Right, it's going to go there. And what I'm going to do by eye is just cut it along here. And I think that's near enough going to do it. Right, yeah, there we are. Well, it's still, even though I tried to do it there, it's still got a bit sort of out the kilter there. So let's see if I can reposition it and pull it round tighter while it hasn't fully stuck. That's a bit better. But I've decided not just to do that, but to use some nails on it as well, just to make sure. Right, I got these round wire nails, 1-inch nails, not much bigger than panel pins really, and I'm going to hammer them through just for a bit of extra security in case the glue is not as strong as I wanted it to be. Don't need many, 3 that's all I've got on this. Whoops. Right, well, they will come through and stick on the inside, but you can just bang those over. Right, so there we are, it's covered, look. Boom, boom. So we've got it covered. The next thing we've got to do is to put all the hardware back on. And I'm not going to bore you by showing me doing every one of these. I'm just going to show you how to put one on there while I finish it, and then we'll see how I manage to cope with cutting this bit out for the tom holder. Learned a couple of tricks yesterday on this. Originally I was going to drill through it, but the difficulty was that because this is flexible, the drill was actually pushing it away. So the best way of doing this is, you got the inside there, you can see where the holes need to be. Is I've got a very thin screwdriver, or a bradawl if you've got a bradawl, and from the inside then I just poke this out, poke it through. You see it there. If I do that around round enough, Then I got the other screwdriver that's about the same size as the hole. I can then follow this through and push it in. Actually, it goes through the membrane underneath it okay. So that's the top one. There's the second one here. I need to do it a few times just to find the right place. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so we've done the holes there. So the next bit we're going to do is to put on one of the legs. Okay, now, no, that's the wrong one. So this leg is going to go on there with this face up, and as I said before, these screws are not long enough, so it's a bit of a devil really, so I've got to take these off and instead got these new screws. Let's have a look, see if I can, where's that little screwdriver gone? See if I can move the camera so you can see what I'm doing. So what we're trying to do is to put, oops, put the screws through there to the outside and then screw the leg on from the back. It's a bit tricky trying to do everything at the same time with one hand, to be honest with you. Let's see if I can reposition this so you can see it. Oh, that might be a bit better. Yeah, there we are. We're looking at that. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do with this screw is it came in a packet with the nut on it. So I'm going to put the nut back on. Actually, I wonder if I can try it this way. So I'm going to put the washer, and I bought these extra washers. I'm going to put the washer, then I'm going to put the nut. Yeah, that might create extra space because the screws are a bit longer than I really need. Alright, but so I'm trying to reduce the gap. Doing it. Bit fiddly. There we are. So I've done that one. Let's do another one. I found that flat washers like this came less in a packet and are more expensive than these recess washers, so I bought these. So it depends on what your local stores have got at the time really. If you try to do this, you can probably shop around and get better stuff than I did, except that I just rushed this to try to get the project done. Right, so what we're going to do now, what I'm going to do now is to see if it's, yeah. Right, okay. Yeah, that's the screwdriver through the front. So I'm going to push that through there. And the other one through there. And then try to see where they are. You can see there's what, can you see it? I don't know, there's one there. And there's one there, just a little silver. What you can do is trim away, give it a bit of a haircut, just to expose the thing a bit more. Or actually, the other thing I've thought of is using one of these. Yeah, that exposes, that's quite good, isn't it? That exposes it. It melts basically. Oh, that's better, that is. Look, that melts. This is a good tip. So that melts around there so you can see the thing a lot easier to get at. So then what you have to do is by feel, is to basically line these up by feel. And once you've got them going, is to screw them up tight. I'm going to be moving this around just so it's easier for me to work on at the moment, okay? So the top one is in place, felted in place. Yeah, the bottom one is just there. Okay, so I've done them there. You can see they're not tightly screwed up. So I'm just trying to level it so the camera can see it. How about that? Yeah. There we are. There's one of them on there. There's one of the legs on. Actually, using that bit of using this little thing, a little lighter to burn that away really helps. So that's a good tip. I'm going to do that. I haven't caught on fire either, which is an advantage. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put all these other legs on, and I'll come back to you when I'm ready to do the job with putting the tom-tom holder on there. But I'm quite pleased with that. Actually, that works okay, and certainly these things I've just used work fine with it. Well, as you can see, I've put all the legs on here, okay, and now what we ought to do is to put the holder for the toms on. I've marked inside here that this is the front, this is the back, and that goes there. If I open this up, you should be able to see that this is where it's got to go. So what I'm going to do now, let's hope you can see that, I'm going to squeeze through the camera. There, okay. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to drill through here, through those holes. Oops. Still there? Okay. Yeah. And what I'm going to do is to put some temporary screws. Put some temporary screws up through here, just so that I can sit this in the right place. Alright. That's the idea of it. If we can sit it in the right place, then I can mark around it and then I can look at cutting it out. So these screws are not to hold it permanently in place, it's basically just to put it where it should be on the top here. Okay, 2 there. Get out of this one. Oops. Oh, I've got them in there. Okay, that one. That one's there. Oh, it didn't stay in permanently, did it? It's about there though. That one's there. Where did that go? Alright, so that's where it is, and what I'm going to do now is try to use a Stanley knife to trim. Oops, it's out of place. Put this back in to trim around, so I know I'm going to cut it in the right place. No idea how long this is going to take. Well, I've made a start there. I can see the screw holes. So I thought now, why didn't I try this? Can you see it? See if I can burn a bit off there. Look, there's a grasses. Okay, now just have an idea. Thought what I might do is got these big holes here, so if I drill through those I might be able to cut it with a bit of scissors. So let's try that and change some of this. And try it from underneath, see if it makes any difference. Yeah. let's see if this does anything then. Don't forget, I've stuck the edges around here earlier on. But okay, oh, it's going a little bit. It's hard work though, this. But just as well I didn't try this around each of these legs, isn't it? That's otherwise I'd be a doomsday, I think. Okay, well let's cut. Now I could just see through there. See if I can look at the camera. Can you see that white bit? Well, that white was the sticky that I put underneath there earlier, so we know we're up to the edge there. So I just got to carry on doing the same sort of thing, I suppose. Right, trim it here with a knife, see if I can get it running with the grain or something. Oh well, it's coming on a bit, look. Ah, there we are. There's the first screw hole that it's got to sit in. So at least I did something. Well, that worked a bit, didn't it? See how far else it'll go doing the same thing this side. Oh yeah, there we are. Let's expose that one as well there. I'll just leave those flaps open. If I leave these flaps open here, I might be able to trim it after. So I need to go up the top here now. Let's try the old scissors again then. First, right, I'll say this again. If you're going to try this with the scissors, use a good pair of scissors. These are Fiskars scissors, you can't get any better. Alright, I used to work for Fiskars, so I know. Get a pair of Fiskars scissors to do this. I can't think of any other brand that's likely to sort of withstand the amount of pressure you're doing on it. So look for Fiskars when you do it, right? They're made in Finland, they're not made in Japan, they're not made in Taiwan, so they work. Fantastic design. Used to be sold in the UK under the Wilkinson Sword brand, okay? Well, it's coming on. Look, if I do this, you can see there's the flap there. You can see the edges. So I've achieved really what I wanted to. Let's see if I can put that thing in. Right, which is the front? There's the front. So if that's the front, it means that these are going to go onto the back. So what am I doing? Am I getting in there? Well, certainly looks like, doesn't it? Yeah. Right, so that's there. There's a plate goes underneath and the screws go through the plate. So let's have a look. I'm going to turn it on its side. Don't know if you can see that. No. Go back here. So I can reposition the camera so that you can get a better look at what I'm doing. Ah, there we are. That's better, isn't it? Chop my head off again, but at least you can see it. So this is going in there. It's neatly cut. The plate is going on the inside, and then the screws. I haven't lost them again. I put them in this. I put them in this little thing too. So these are the original screws that came out, so hopefully they fit back. Well, I've done it. It's on there, but unfortunately the screws that came with it still weren't long enough. Even though I've cut around here and this is actually sitting on there, I couldn't get the thing back in. They were just, you know, hardly touching. I just couldn't get a bite. So I needed to, again, to use those longer screws that I use for the legs, together with some spacers, in order to be able to push it up and engage that. And that's what I've done. Hope you can see it there. What I have to do on this is to loosely get each of them attached loosely, so they're all in there, and then tighten them down afterwards. If you tighten one down first, the others, there's not enough play to do it. But this will be quite secure and strong. Now I know it works, I will have to do the same thing on the two tom-toms that go into there, because we've got similar fittings the other side on the tom-tom that the arm fits into. So I'm going to screw this up now and finish this, prepare the rest of the drums, and come back to you and show you how I convert them into something completely different again. Well, I've done as I said I was going to do. I've covered all the drums, put the hardware back on, and I've put the bottom heads back on. To complete the project, I have some flowers and some fertilizer, 2 buckets, 2 solar panelled water fountains, some black bin liners, and some black gaffer tape. So this is what we're going to do just now, is to finish off each of these. 2 of the drums are going to become containers for the plants, and 2 of the drums are going to become little miniature ponds where they can have fountains, and that's what this lot is for. And I'll show you how I put that together just now. So these are the 2 tom-toms that I've chosen to become miniature fountains. Okay, it's the large freestanding one. In fact, it's tom number 2. I think it's the 12-inch one. This is supposed to be 14. I think it's about 13 actually deep. I've left the bottoms on because that's going to be a bit of weight of load bearing. And what I'm going to use is I'm going to use buckets to be the ponds inside. I thought of getting pond liner, but that's very expensive and I didn't think I'd be able to work out how to do it. And then I thought, well, hang on a minute, if you're doing a pond, you either use a liner or you get something that's to shape of a ready formed shape. And I said, well, hang on, these look like buckets, so let's use some buckets. So all I've got are 2 buckets. One is called a plasterer's bucket and the other one is a normal kitchen bucket, I suppose. Make sure they're the ones without the lips on, because you don't need the lips on them. And what I've done is basically cut the tops off. This is something I prepared earlier. What I did was that I put the bucket inside like that. It was a bit big. So I put some tape around where it needed to be, and then I cut the top off. Or rather, I must admit, I didn't cut the top off. I have to say thank you to my friend Philip Housley for cutting the top off for me. I started to do it with a hacksaw blade and realised how difficult it was. So Philip said he had a jigsaw you could do it with. So if you're going to do it, what Philip did, see if I can find where it is on this. Yeah, there it is. See that hole there? Well, what Philip did is he drilled a hole through, then he put his jigsaw inside, and then followed my top line of that to give me a usable bucket to become a little pond. And we did the same with this one as well. Okay, that goes in there. Again, he drilled a hole, use the jigsaw and cut it through. So thank you very much, Philip. It would take me all day just to do that by hand. Right, so what we're going to do on these, both of them, is, you see there's a gap. So obviously there's water going to be in here. And I may as well jump to the thing that what I'm going to put in them. Now these things that just fell apart. What I'm going to put in them are these little pumps, and the pumps have got the sort of fountain effect. They come with or without, you put them together, you come with or without this disc. The disc is there so they can float on it, or you take it off and there's suckers on the bottom and you stick it on the bottom with the suckers. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet until we actually get it up, fill it up and try it. These were quite expensive. They were £30 each, and the reason I got these is twofold. First of all, as well as being solar, it's also got a battery unit attached to it, so in the evening when there's no light, you can actually switch that on and it'll still work. The other thing is it comes with a number of different fountain patterns, and I don't know which ones of those are going to work. And the last thing is the flow is adjustable. The last thing I want to do is to have it squirt over next door's garden. I just want it sort of coming dribbling up and staying in the confines of this, really, which is going to be difficult when these are small. So that's why I paid extra for them. You can get cheaper ones under a tenner that will just sort of do the job, but you got less control out of them. So what I'm going to do is basically use gaffer tape to tape this around there all the way, and I'm hoping that that's going to work. If it doesn't, I'll have to think again. My plan B is to put, is after doing that, is also possibly to put a black bin liner over the top. We can then put the head back on, or rather the rim back on, to hold that, and again that might make it watertight. I'm hoping that this is quite a tight fit on this one, the gaffer tape will do. On this one there is a difference, because obviously this unit here is going to sit in the bass drum, and effectively it goes through the inner unit here, and it's this area that's going to hold all the strength of the amount of water that's put in here. Same thing applies to the other one, which we're going to fill with flowers. So what I've done on this, I've taken what's called a memory lock. That's a little, that's a thing like this that comes on the drums. You see those two little things there? Well, they lock into an area there, so the drummer can actually know where his things are positioned every time. They just drop them into the drums, it sits in the right place. But what I've done with this, I've put it on the inside to act as an extra security, really, for these, to add a bit of strength to it. But so I've had to take that into account. So you see that there needs to be a gap there for that, and it's not complete. So it's not completely round matching. It's more oval, but who cares? It's not going to really work. So again, this is some slightly bigger gaps here and less gaps there. What I'm going to do is to put the gaffer tape on. I'm then going to see if I need to put any padding inside to actually keep it level, but we'll find out as the afternoon goes on. Okay, I hope you can see this. So this is what I'm going to do here. I'm getting the gaffer tape, I'm cutting it into strips, I'm putting it on there, and then folding it over to go on there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do the opposite sides first to try to even it up. If I put tension on one side, I probably need to put even tension on the other. So that's those two. I honestly don't know how waterproof this particular tape is. Don't email me and tell me if you use the wrong stuff. Just do it yourself and use the proper stuff. But so I'm going to keep an eye on this in the back garden, and then if it does start, you know, deteriorating, then I'll have to see if I can find something, a better way of doing it. But I've never done this before, so we may as well try it like this. I don't intend to fill the water all the way up to the top. It's going to be, I'm hoping to have it below where the gaffer tape is. So I don't know if that means that it's going to be, you know, less waterproof or not. I don't think this claims to be waterproof, or it's just strong, isn't it? You know. You see, that's just covering there, but we'll keep doing this. And I'm going to do the same thing with the smaller one as well. So if I show you boy's sake putting this on, I'm not going to duplicate it with the smaller one. I'll just show you it when it's finished. This is the end result, I suppose, if I showed you that. Yeah, you're still seeing that. The thing is, when it's full of water, it's like you're flexing it and pull, you know, add some extra weight on it. So, see why I'm not sure how strong this is going to take. This is why I'm doing it in bits, because I think that it adds extra strength where you can overlap the bits, and if like one level starts working loose, there might be a bit underneath it that holds the rest together. Oh, that's a bit, okay, I can. So what I might do is I might put some stuff inside here and over the top there again to add another layer, but this stuff is cheap enough, isn't it? So, by the way, remember I told you to use when you line these up, to use a bradawl. I had a bit of an accident. Do you know, it was on the very last hole I had to make on the snare drum. Got too cocky, I suppose. Okay, now the next question is, do we put this back on top or not? This obviously acts as an extra, could act in it as an extra seal. Right there. So the answer is yes, it probably is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it out. Let's get the knife started. Don't need much in there. So this may help with the waterproofing or not, I don't know really. Okay. Oh, that looks alright, doesn't it? Okay, well what I'm going to do now is I'm going to screw this up, and then that's that one done. So turn it over. Well, you can see there's some gaps around the side there. I'm hoping that there's not going to be enough. There's not going to be a lot of vibration from this little motor to actually jiggle it back and forth. But if I find that is the case, of course, I can always take the bottom one out and actually pack it full of something, you know, one bits of cardboard or something like that to stop it rattling. But it's pointless doing that until we see how it works, isn't it? So I'm going to carry on now and do the same thing with this, and come back to you when this one is finished. Right, next, the snare drum and this tom-tom, they're going to be planted up. And I'm not going to plant them all up now, because you can look, if you don't know how to do that, you can find out somewhere else. You can watch Gardener's World or other bits. Anyway, but the difference is with this is that we've got these on the bottom, okay? What you're going to do when you plant up is to put some stones and stuff in the bottom. You need some drainage. So what I'm going to do with this, because I don't know how fragile these are, if they're going to split. First of all, I'm going to put some strips of gaffer tape on the bottom heads. And then I'm going to drill some holes through it. That way I think that the plastic is unlikely to split. Otherwise I thought if I tried to drill some holes without the strength of this, it might be that the whole head sort of splits, and then I'm back to square one having to find something else for the bottom. So these heads are so thin. Obviously these kits are made in China, and they knock them out by the thousands, and they use the cheapest stuff they can get hold of, to be honest with you. And the plastic that they use for the heads is terrible. If anybody buys one of these kits, that's why so many of them actually for sale on, I got this one on Schlock or something like that, I can't remember what it's called. Or sometimes you use Gumtree for stuff, because people buy them, they sound so bloody awful, they send them off. Actually, all they need to do is go out and buy some decent heads and the kits will sound okay. Right, so that's that. So I'm going to try it out, fingers crossed. Oops. Yeah, getting clogged up there. Same here. Yeah, that's split there, you see. That's okay, right. So I've done what I'm going to do now is, let's see if you can see it. Yeah, you can see it, yeah. Is just get a plastic bag. This is a heavy duty plastic bag, and I'm going to use it a bit like the pond liner I was mentioning. I'm just going to put it inside here. I put this on the top just as that flops over. Yeah. So eventually what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do it off camera, is to put some stones like that in the bottom, all the way into the bottom to help the drainage. Fill it then with compost and then start planting it with these plant plugs I've got here. I've got some lobelia on this. It's going to trail over the edge eventually. Oh, it needs a bit of water in that one. And I got some marigolds. I'm going to put that in there. You'll see the end. I'm going to plant them out. This one I might do before I put it out on display. This one I'll probably do when it's actually on the drum. But the same thing will apply on this. It's got a big plastic bag, heavy duty plastic bag. Feed that in. That on top. Trim it, of course, that's what I'm going to do after. I should have said that. Once that's there, I'll trim it. The earth will be in there. I'm not going to bother to. I'll just trim it. I won't try to put any gaffer tape on it, I don't think. I'll just trim it, and the holes on the bottom, or put a few slits in the bottom for water to drain out of these, and those are what my planters are going to be. Bit of a. Let's give you a. I can tidy this up after. But just to give you the idea. Obviously I can tidy that up, that will go over the top. And again, the plants will be on that, looking quite nice, hopefully. So those are the way I've done the planter. And that's basically the doings for the project. The next stage is actually assembling the kit itself out on the display. So that's probably going to be the next job. Well, here's the final result. There's the snare drum that I've planted up, the tom that I've planted up, and the two water features. And in case you forgot them, the cymbals. I'm going to have to stick the cymbals on a bit better than that, but this, I ran out of tape and the tape I got was useless. So, there we are. That's how you turn a cheap drum kit into a garden feature.